So some of you may have thought about this as a linear model. Ideas lead to inventions or innovations, that leads to entrepreneurship. Some of you may have had some arrow connection among these. Some of you may have used a Venn diagram. But in the interest of full disclosure, let me just share with you how I look at these 4 different concepts, because I think it helps me at least frame the context within which you folks are potentially starting out ventures of your own. So ideas, as I mentioned, are everywhere. What's the relationship between ideas and inventions? Well, I think inventions obviously straddle a bit. They come from ideas, but they depart from the sheer world of ideas. They become real in some way. Somebody develops a prototype, somebody files a patent, somebody creates an example of what they have in mind. Maybe the example is nothing more than a PowerPoint pitch, but at least it's more than just the idea. They've worked it just a little bit. Are we at innovations yet? Are we at entrepreneurship yet? I don't think so. I think innovations fall, again, a little bit into the world of ideas, but not exclusively within the world of inventions. Because innovations are all about how do you improve on the status quo. A lot of inventions don't improve the status quo. A lot of inventions are inventions for their own sake. They don't really have much applicability. They don't rise to the level of innovations that would change somebody's mind in terms of changing their behavior, changing what they do, changing how they think. That's the realm of innovations. So that leaves me with entrepreneurship. Where does entrepreneurship fit here? Well, I think entrepreneurship fits squarely, or rather circularly, using my Venn diagram. It fits into innovation. It may have pieces of invention associated with it, but you don't need an invention to be an entrepreneur. My assertion on the innovation entrepreneurship is this: all entrepreneurs are innovators. Every entrepreneur is an innovator, but relatively few innovators are entrepreneurs. So think about what that might mean for you. You may have an idea for a franchise business. Now, a franchise you might not think has much innovation in it, but believe me, even somebody operating the next Starbucks outlet or the next McDonald's outlet or KFC, whatever it might be, they're doing something that nobody else has done before. They're trying some little tweak on the business model. They're trying some different way of motivating or managing their employees or relating to their customers. They're doing something innovative. And those of you that are doing something that nobody else has ever done, which by definition is everybody in this room, right? You're all innovating. You may be innovating on many fronts. You may be innovating on a very narrow front. Doesn't matter. You're all innovating. So when you think about innovation, what comes to mind? Think for a second, just what's an innovation? Who are innovators? I'll bet you if we did a poll right now and you closed your eyes for 30 seconds and you thought about innovation and innovators, you might have the following kinds of people in mind. You might have this guy in mind. Or if you're an engineer or a scientist, you might perhaps have this guy in mind. There's no question. These were major innovators. The problem is that if we think about innovation always with these kinds of models in mind, we might as well tell 99.9% of the world that they can't be innovators. That your team can't be innovators because nobody's going to be the next Steve Jobs. Nobody's going to be the next Albert Einstein. We tend to think about innovation backwards. We tend to focus on the ovation part of innovation. We think about big scale, dramatic, revolutionary, world-changing ideas that have been converted to innovations, that have transformed markets, that have changed how we fundamentally think about the world. And if that's our definition of innovations, we all might as well leave today. Because unless there's a Steve Jobs out here, or unless there's the new Albert Einstein or Richard Branson, we're all probably not up to that standard of innovation. The good news is that the world doesn't always expect that scale of innovation. Markets don't expect or necessarily reward always only that kind of innovation. There is an infinite array of opportunities out there for new businesses. This is a friend of mine who unfortunately died on New Year's this year. His name is Michael Cronin. He's the guy that invented the names for TiVo and the Kindle and many other products that you folks probably use. And I once had dinner with Michael before he died, and I said, hey, Michael, you do all this wonderful branding. What's the secret of branding? And he thought for a second. He said, I've come up with the following conclusion. Different beats better. Different beats better. Now, that's a much lower standard for innovation, for market differentiation. It allows you to think about your product and service not from the point of view, is it the best in the world, perhaps, but is it better than the status quo? Is it different than the status quo? And maybe you have an ability to create something that satisfies that definition. Entrepreneurship bridges the gap between opportunity and value. Your job as an entrepreneur is to convert one to the other. How do you do that? Well, the fortunate thing is that entrepreneurs do it in lots of different ways. There are about 4 different kinds of entrepreneurs. There's some entrepreneurs who don't have a choice, who have to be an entrepreneur in order to put food on the table. We see them in every major city. We see them in every village in the world. People that are doing small-scale businesses because they don't have an alternative. They need to basically create their own jobs, create their own source of income in order to feed their kids, put meal on the table, etc. There are people that want to run a small or medium-sized enterprise, a dry cleaning store, a flower shop, a restaurant, an accountancy of some sort. And then there are people that tend to get most of the attention in entrepreneurship. Those are folks that want to change businesses, change industries, create industries, use brand new technology. That's where Steve Jobs fits in. That's where Bill Gates fits in. That's where Richard Branson is. Those are the folks that get most of the attention around what entrepreneurship is. And then there's a 4th category, folks like Muhammad Yunus, who use the power of entrepreneurship to transform the world. I'll give you 3 words that combine that I think give you an idea of how powerful some of those ideas can be in that sphere. And that is beggars as borrowers. Beggars as borrowers. That's the kind of business model that Muhammad Yunus has shown can work. Take the least credit-worthy people you could imagine on the face of the earth and turn them into profitable borrowers for businesses if you rethink the fundamental model of banking. So whether or not you are motivated by necessity or whether or not you're motivated by opportunity, you can be an entrepreneur in any one of these dimensions. And I don't know how many different kinds of ventures there are here in the audience today, but any one of the ventures may find homes in one of these 4 domains. Now, I mentioned the power of entrepreneurship. If this web connection works, we might actually be able to see something, and the question is whether or not we will. If not, I'll show it to you later. Looks like we're going to show it to you later. Come up and see me for a short video that talks about the power of entrepreneurship. One of the most important dimensions of this is that, how long have I been talking now? About, okay, 13 minutes. You know in the last 13 minutes? In the last 13 minutes, 1,500 ventures. Actually, that's wrong. 13 minutes, 2,000, 3,000. 2,500 ventures have started around the world in the last 13 minutes. 2,500 of them. There's people that are starting to do something different. Oh, here it is. Do we have sound? Can we get sound? Can we start it over again? Just start it over again, if you would. Let me give you a little précis on this. This is a short video that I had a chance to pull together with the co-producer of Toy Story 1 and an Academy Award-winning animator. So take a look. So, thanks. By the way, we're getting this translated into about 15 languages around the world. So if there's anybody that wants to volunteer to do the translation in Spanish, let me know, and we'll make sure you get credits on the back of this. So the issue at the end of the day, you know, you see all these people with ideas and inventions and potential innovations. And the question is, how do you take any of those to the power of V? How do you add the power of entrepreneurship that can multiply the potential of your idea or your invention? And I thought it might be helpful to just give you the basic definition of entrepreneurship that I tend to use in my classes. I borrow it from Howard Stevenson at Harvard Business School. But he defines entrepreneurship as the pursuit of opportunity beyond the resources you control. Let me just ask a quick question. How many teams here have all the money you need to start your business? Okay, let's see. How many people here, how many teams here have all the people that you need to run or start your business? There's one group in the back. We'll talk to you in 6 months. How many people have all the technology that you need to basically launch your business successfully? A few of you. We'll see you with the same group in 6 months. How about office space, supplies? Everybody got all the suppliers you need? How about, let me ask you, how about customers? Who has all the customers they need? One person has all the customers they need. See this person right here. Would you stand up, please? Right here. This guy, you want to find out what he's doing, because whatever he's doing, he must be doing something right. The challenge of entrepreneurship is to basically convince the people that own the resources that we all need to launch businesses that your idea, that your team, that your technology, that your product, your solution, your strategy is worth supporting with their resources. Giving them to you, lending them to you, not having you pay for them right at once, maybe giving you some spare space, working for you on weekends, a customer that might be willing to try out your product before you actually have the real marketable product, your MVP, if those of you who like the lean startup model. You know, those are resources that you need. Those are resources that you want to control, but you don't. That's where business strategy comes in. That's where the story comes in. Because if you're an entrepreneur, you are always going to be telling and selling. You have to come up with a storyline that helps your audience, the people that have these resources, help them understand what you're doing and why it matters to potential customers. So let me give you a second assignment. Here's a case. Everybody knows in business schools, you know, you do case studies. I'm going to give you a very simple multi-bullet case. Here are the facts. An MBA from Haas, graduated several years ago. He now works for a very large consulting firm. His mother is a pharmacologist in a particular country. That means that she's licensed to basically mix ingredients that can then be sold over the counter for things that might ail you. Here's the product that she developed over 20 years ago. It's all natural. It's a 7-day deodorant. 7 days. It's cream. It lasts through showers, through baths. And this guy, Peter, by the way, there's no competition for this thing at the moment. Nobody's done this thing. This guy comes to us and says, is this a business opportunity? Is this an opportunity to create a business? Just knowing those facts. Think about deodorant for a moment. Think about a cream-based 7-day deodorant. Is that a business opportunity? Anybody think it's a business opportunity? A few hands. Is it a business opportunity, you think, here? Here? Well, most folks are like most of you here. They say, no, that can't possibly be a business opportunity. First of all, men are unlikely to use a cream deodorant, right? They're not, or in countries where armpits are not shaved by women, maybe women aren't willing to use a cream-based deodorant. The 7-day seems kind of weird. Who's going to need a deodorant for 7 days? Well, maybe people like backpackers. Maybe people that are away from traditional bathrooms might need a deodorant for 7 days, or at least the people traveling with them might want them to use a deodorant for 7 days. Or what if instead of thinking about deodorants exclusively as an underarm product, What if we thought about it as a solution for stinky feet? Suddenly, men might be interested in it because you can put cream on your feet, right? Women might be interested in it if they have stinky feet. So you may have a business opportunity just by changing the perspective through which you look at that particular possibility. Oh yeah, there's another thing. There may be some research that suggests that traditional antiperspirants may have an ingredient in them that may be linked to breast cancer. So there may be a health reason to think about this product. So we've gone through this case in many, many places around the world. Most people say, no, stick with your day job. Don't do this. And that's in fact what he did. He stuck with his day job. And then about a year later, I came across the following news article. It's not necessarily a job you'd like to have, but there is a multi-day deodorant used by the Russian army being tested. Not a great job. But somebody saw that as an opportunity and created a product to satisfy it.